It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right. It is to get you to the weekend edition of the Patrick Johnson Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. See you, Dom. Have a nice weekend. Hope everybody's going to have a nice weekend. Philip the Ref Pilkington in the Hizzle. We've got quite a show. Pirates coming off a 74-66 win against UNCW. Rallied for the seventh time under Mike Swartz from a double-digit deficit to get the win. We've got a great show planned for you today. Not only do we have that coming up in a little bit, but we've also got the author of the book, Marvin, a Greenville Legend. It's stories about the great Marvin Jarman. David Boyd Lee will be in studio with us to talk about the book coming up in just a few minutes. Also, happening today, we're going to talk playoffs for the high school football season. The regional finals are tonight, and we'll know after this evening who's going to be in the state championship games. Chris Hughes from Carolina Preps will be with us. Also, the High School Athletic Association voting to have eight classifications starting in the 25-26 school year. So plenty to talk about with Chris Hughes coming up here on the show. But, Pilk, here we are, our first weekend without ECU football. After a tough season, there's still a lot of news. IGO's breaking it left and right, and we've had it all over the airwaves and the social medias today. And we've also had what I think is probably I wouldn't say maybe a season-saving win, but certainly a badly needed win against a really good UNCW team last night.
Yeah, definitely. And the nature and what they did it to come from behind just proves how good this team is, especially offensively. You know they're good defensively. That's what they pride themselves on. Hasn't really shown up this year, but it showed up last night, and it showed up down the stretch offensively last night as well. And they went 11 deep last night. No Ezra Asar, and still got a lot of production from guys that maybe whose names not all of Pirate Nation knows.
Yeah, really very quietly, Brandon Johnson with another double-double in his career, and he has now 14 double-doubles in his Pirate career, 18 points and 11 rebounds. I thought Caleb LeCount was excellent, 5 of 10 from the floor for 11 points. And then obviously what can you say about Bobby Pettiford Jr.? Playing really well right now, 8 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 5 from 3, 24 points, a new career high for him. On a day where, as you mentioned, no Ezra Azar. R.J. Felton didn't play great. He got in foul trouble early and never could really get it going. Brandon Johnson missed time in the first half, considerable time with fouls, as well as time in the second half with getting some treatment where he rolled an ankle a little bit. So all of that to say that Bobby Pettiford kind of came in and saved the day. You also had Debunje not have one of his better games, struggled shooting the basketball last night. And UNCW came in. They were number 2 in the nation in three-point percentage coming into the game last night. Entering the contest, they were at 43.5%, which was number 2 in the NCAA. But they were 3 of 20, I think something like 0 for 16 or 17 before they hit their first three-point shot. 20 for Shaquem Phillips in his return to Pitt County. Of course, he won a state championship at South Central. And with Dayron Sharp for Chris Cherry's team. And Lewis, the football tight end at ECU, was a member of that state championship team as well, the defensive end, Lewis. And, was happy for Phillips. He played very, very well. Didn't play as well in the second half. White, who's also had a double-double for UNCW, just 2 points in the second half, and I think that was also a big key. Pirates ended up shooting more free throws than UNCW, and that's kind of surprising, to be quite honest with you. Pilk, you've got audio from that. We'll do a Pirate report later on. We've got ECU volleyball, of course, playing the Citadel. That's starting as we speak here on the radio side, so I have some duties with that, the magic of radio, let's just say, and here we are getting ready for ECU and Citadel, and the winner of that will play tomorrow at 6 o'clock for the right to advance to the third round in the National Invitational Volleyball Championships. But Pilk, you're going to have Pirate Report audio to close the show. Is that my understanding?
That is true. We got Schwartz, Pettiford, and Caleb LeCount.
Okay, very good. Very good. All right, I tell you what, let's get a break. Well, we'll come back. We'll get David Boyd Lee into our studios. There's a brand new book here in Greenville that is written, Marvin. And it is Marvin, a Greenville legend. I also got to question David for putting a Joe DeLoach quote on the back. I mean, come on. No, I'm kidding, of course. But this is a great new book. It's available on Amazon and other places. So we'll talk to him about the book coming up. Stay tuned. The Patrick Johnson Show continues on a Get You to the Weekend edition right after this.
Hurry into Greenville Toyota. We're giving thanks and making the season bright with low payments on new Camrys and RAV4s, only $289 a month. Need credit? Get pre-qualified now with no effect on your credit score. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
At GoEco, we don't just supply the office space. We create solutions for any environment. Our state-of-the-art commercial-grade video display is perfect for watching film with the team. From film study to the field, elevate your game with GoEco.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
It's time to give thanks, and Greenville Toyota is making it happen with no payments for 3 months. Yes, we're thanking our customers with no payments till next year. That means extra money in your pocket, just in time for holiday shopping. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. We got David Boyd Lee with us here, and this is the book, Marvin, a Greenville legend, and it's what it is, Marvin Jarman, a Greenville legend. Great to see David Boyd Lee. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Renowned author and writer.
Yeah.
All right, so we were talking in the break. You discussed, you could do a Marvin Jarman book. There was a great article a few years ago that kind of discussed Marvin's life and his family and how he grew up and all that. So I don't want to say that had been done because a book on it had not been done, but a pretty well done article had been done.
Right. Oh yeah, that was good. That was a really good article. Yeah, when I thought about doing the book about him, I didn't want it to be a regular old, Marvin was born in Greenville,
Right.
Marvin went to Rose High, Marvin worked for Greenville Parks and Rec, that kind of thing. And, everybody's got great Marvin stories. They're so phenomenal, and there's some funny ones, and there's ones that show how smart he is, and, different stuff like that. And so I said, one day I was driving to work, and I'll just let people tell their favorite Marvin story. How good's that?
What a concept.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like so simple if you think about it. And everybody loves telling a good Marvin story.
And you've got everything in here from Boyd Lee.
Right.
You've got Randy Phillips. God bless your heart on
good
that one.
Storyteller, really good storyteller.
No, Randy has the gift of gab. There's Ron Butler. There's Ronald Vincent. There's Scooter, Brian Weingartz, Hawk. Yeah. Hawk Harrison. So, there's all kinds of, I would say almost like Greenville Originals talking about the Greenville Original in Marvin. So that was probably easy to convince people, because what's cool about the book is every story is a chapter, and some are a page, some are 2 or 3, 4 pages. Right. So, it just depends on, I guess, the length of whatever story. That was, again, I have to imagine, the easy part, because everybody has a Marvin story. Did you almost have too many stories?
I could have kept going easily. Even since we've put it out, that there's folks like, man, I got good Marvin stories. I could almost probably have a second edition.
So we could have a second version of this. More Marvin.
And but it was at a certain point in time, I just had to pull the trigger on it and cut it off and go with it. Yeah, it's funny when you folks have good Marvin stories. Like RV told probably 6 just back to back, really quick ones. Randy's are a little longer, like you said.
Right.
And
Randy, I think sometimes he's trying to think about what the next fact or figure he's going to exaggerate might be. It might be.
Well, and then some of them, I had an app on my phone that you could record the calls. Mm-hmm. So when you tell somebody that you're recording, it worries some people. But we just get to talking Marvin. And then eventually they listen up, and some of the best quotes and the best stories are ones I don't even think they meant to tell. Or, there's some really good quotes in there about Marvin and what he means to people. And every call may start off with a funny story, but the end of it is how much they love Marvin.
Right.
So it's real apparent in the book.
David Boyd Lee, what is maybe a favorite story or two in the book?
RV told one about them being in Yankee Stadium and years ago, and Clyde King was the Yankee manager, and he's down on the field, and he sees Marvin out of the crowd and yells, "Marvin Jarman, what are you doing here?" And then they ask him afterwards, like, "Marvin, how do you know him?" He's like, "Well, we've talked." And there's all kind of ones. The one about the cheeseburger, not liking how the hamburgers taste, so ordered a cheeseburger without cheese is good. And there's one about that Clay Medlin told about Marvin.
I forgot Clay's got a couple stories in
Marvin walking to the baseball game, and they're playing West Carteret, and the coach pulls up in the bus beside Marvin on the other side of town.
Yeah.
So, Marvin, you going to the game? Yeah. So we get on the bus, we'll take you over to Guy Smith. And Marvin said, nope. Wouldn't get on the bus with him. He'd rather walk.
He didn't want to be seen.
Because he knew RV and Clay and them would give him a hard time about riding in on the bus with Wes Craven. Or Carteret.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
You could do a whole story, too, of people who've picked up Marvin while he's walking around town. And, we've all done that 2 or 3 times at least.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you're not taking him anywhere crazy because he's always going kind of the same places.
Oh, yeah.
But still, it's a good story. You could catch up with Marvin while you're driving him that 10 or 15 minutes. And Marvin probably walks as much as anybody
no doubt.
in the history of the city. We were talking about this, too, during our break when you were getting you set up here on the set. And, Joe DeLoach says Greenville's known for 3 things: Bees Barbecue, baseball, and Marvin. Anywhere I go in the state or really kind of in the region, among the things, if people say you're from Greenville or you tell people you're from Greenville or you have a connection to Greenville, certainly barbecue, East Carolina, baseball, but inevitably it's really, Marvin has kind of a statewide presence and name. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody from, maybe now Mr. Beast, but I don't know if there's anybody from Greenville that just more people across the state know of or knowing.
And it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the crazy thing about it. I mean, I'm 55, so I mean, that's 50 years I've known him.
Right.
And it's been that way forever and ever.
Did we've interviewed Marvin countless times on the radio, and Marvin, you ask him a question on radio, and he'll just shake his head or not, nod his head or whatever. But we got a lot of words out of him a few years ago when we had RV in the studio, which was pretty good. What was his reaction to the book?
So when I decided to do the book, I went over there and ate with them at Cubby's one day on a Tuesday, I think it was. And RV said, I'd been running it by RV and Clay and Weingarts, for the most part. And RV said, David, tell Marvin why you're here. And he was eating a cheeseburger, and I said, Marvin, I'm going to write a book about you.
Uh-huh.
And he said, yeah. And I said, I'm going to let all your friends tell stories about you. Is that okay? And he said, yeah. He said, somebody tried to write a book about me before. Didn't work out. And he went back to eating. So I was like, well, that's the green light there. So let's get after it,
And you got the first one.
Yep.
What are some of your favorite, I mean, just not from the book, but your favorite Marvin stories?
I just, I just remember growing up and being around Elm Street. I kind of wrote in the beginning in there that, my first vivid memory of him is my buddy Scott Davis and I were playing tennis when we were younger at Elm Street. I went back for a lob and about ran into Marvin. And, it was like, oh, hey, Marvin. And he was picking up probably the one piece of paper that had blown up beside the fence in the whole park. And, we called it a do-over and went back to playing. And, we're 12, 13-year-old kids. That was part of Elm Street to us was Marvin. And I think a lot of folks feel that way. And I remember, I was around J.C. Park and Elm Street a lot, with my dad and on the Greenville Parks and Rec. And he was always around and everybody was always excited to see him. And, and he was just one of their favorite people. And he's always had that good vibe about him. When my kids got to start playing against, they played at Wilson Fike and they started playing Rose and baseball or whatever. And, it meant a lot to us for Marvin to see, my kid play. I mean, that's kind of validation, if Marvin sees him play.
I guess when you think about it, there's probably at least three generations who've seen him play. Yeah. You think about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my kids didn't understand it until they did.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he'd go over in the dugout and shake their hand before the game or whatever. And they started thinking that was cool and they were special because, that's what he does.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty neat.
It is Marvin, a Greenville Legend by David Boyd Lee. I'll hold the book up again here. So it's available on Amazon.
Right.
And that's probably the easiest way to go about.
Right now, we're going to try to get it to some places here in Greenville.
Some stores before the holidays.
But we're just getting going at, getting after it.
So really fun, kind of easy read. And like I said, these are stories. These are people telling them their own words about Marvin Jarman. Was there anybody that you wanted to talk to about Marvin that you just weren't able to maybe get for whatever reason?
Well, the one thing I'm feeling bad about is Brian Bailey and I talked early on, and I was just working out the app on the phone, to recording folks and everything, and we talked for a while, and so I got ready to transcribe it, and it was like 7.5 minutes of silence. So I didn't hit the right button or something like that, and then we couldn't hook up here in the end and everything. And then I was at the hot stove banquet in Wilson a couple of weeks ago, and I've been trying to hopefully talk to Brian, and he came up to record Coach Whitfield. He was getting an award, and I was up at the front, and he was like right there in front of me. I said, "Man, there's Brian. I'm still trying to talk to him." So I looked for him afterwards, and he'd already left.
Yeah.
And I wish that 7 minutes and 58 seconds wasn't gone. And so I think he would have been a good one to have in there.
I think there's enough, as you said, stories you probably left on the cutting room floor, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Brian Bailey and other people. I mean, other athletes at Rose.
Oh, yeah.
That you could just do a whole second.
Yeah, I'll probably keep a list of folks like, man, I got the best Marvin story. And if we decide to do another one, we'll knock it out,
What, like you said, he's Marvin Jarman we're talking about here, if you don't know. And if you don't, you should get the book for sure. And then it'll quantify just how important Marvin is. But when you kind of look at how, again, you told the story about your kids.
Yeah.
Just the different generations that he's touched.
Right.
And I just think his story and the stories about him are so unique.
Yeah.
They really are. And, you think about if you're around youth and high school sports, around different communities, there's always somebody in the community that kind of is that person that represents and that would be Marvin here, and there's others in other communities. So, this is pretty good. I know he's excited about.
I haven't seen him since Tuesday when it came out. So
okay.
I know RV and them have told him it was happening and going to get him a book, and so I need to see him, and we're going to try to have a book signing around his birthday in January at Elm Street, and so that would be if you already have your book, you can come by and get Marvin to sign it, and if you don't have one, pick one up then. And then hopefully what we're going to do with Greenville Parks and Rec, we're going to do something more at Elm Street with the proceeds and do something for Marvin. We got some ideas, and I'm going to meet with Don Octagon next week, actually. And, we got to see how it does and what kind of money we're looking at, and, and do something cool at Elm Street for Marvin. I know he's already got the Marvin's Convenience, store out there in center field, but we might do something else for him too.
That alone, you could do a whole story on a whole book on Marvin's Convenience store. You really could. It's pretty amazing. As you again look at it, what is and I'm sure some of this is in here, but this is geared a lot towards, as you say, Elm Street and that kind. But I mean, the Rose records of. Never missed a basketball game in X amount of years, and gets all worried when sports start to cross over because can he make all the games and all? That's pretty remarkable too.
Yeah, when I've talked to Weingarts and Ronald and Don about doing that book signing, and Weingarts and RV, first thing they out of their mouth was, better do it at lunch on that Friday because Rose and Conley are playing Friday night, and Marvin will skip it to go to the ball game. So, so you got to keep that in mind. But yeah, it's amazing what he's, all the games. I remember him. He was our free throw coach. When I played at Rose, and we ended every practice with him shooting a free throw. If he made it, we didn't have to run suicides. If he missed it, we had to run more, and we got to give him grief and then run a couple more. So nobody cared. But he's been at the front of every bus for however long. RV tells the story about, back before GPS, they'd be out in the middle of nowhere going to a baseball game, and Marvin would be asleep in the front seat, and they'd come to a four-way stop and not know which way to go. And Marvin, and he'd wake up and go, is this where we're turning? Next right. And he'd go back to sleep. And he was always right, So, I mean, it's just amazing.
And the other thing that's amazing about him, David, is that he knows he could tell you about an athlete for a Rose athlete, but even some opposing athletes from like 45 years ago.
I'm pretty sure if I said, Marvin, how many points did I score against Northern Nash when I was a junior? He'd probably say 7.
Yeah.
And he'd probably be right.
Right.
Yeah. And, there's just, his recall is crazy.
Yeah. This is amazing. Again, it's got great stories from all kinds of people. Marvin, Greenville legend. Amazon.com. Love the rose green with the rose light blue there. That's a nice touch as well. And this is available, again, at Amazon. So and it'll be available in Greenville. It was just released this week. So I'm glad we were able to get you on, David. Best of luck with this. You have a couple other books or another one that you've written and one in the works, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I wrote one just kind of for myself, a couple years back, and it's called Every Moment Counts. It's just columns I've written and Wilson for the paper and for Recreation Magazine. Just anything that comes to mind, people seem to like them. So I put them together in a book. I didn't know what I was doing. I sold them basically out of my car. Anybody want one, I'd send them one or whatever. And, so it's been some years. I've got about 160 or so columns. So I think now that I have a little more better clue, I'm probably going to do a second edition of that and market it a little better. Other than, I'll send you one. And,
right.
And, it's just a hobby that I like. I do at night and that I've enjoyed and, something pass the time.
This is a great concept, too, just stories about Mar. It really is a fabulous concept. Great to see you. Thank you for coming in. We really appreciate it. All right, we're going to talk the high school football playoffs. It is regional final Friday, and Chris Hughes from Carolina Preps is going to join us, so we'll talk to him next here on the Patrick Johnson Show.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Hey, grab me one too.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
R&D Brewing is proud to partner with the ECU Pirates, and now you can enjoy Pirates Brew, the official craft beer of ECU Athletics. Pirates Brew is a carefully curated light beer that embodies the spirit of ECU, a refreshing and easy drinking light beer. Pirates Brew by R&D Brewing is available now at grocery stores, local retailers, and at ECU athletic events.
Head over to your favorite store and enjoy a nice Pirates Brew today, or else you'll walk the plank. Hand me another Pirates Brew. Arr.
Riding shotgun with you on the drive home.
It's showtime.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Okay, welcome back. We are here with you on this Get You to the Weekend Football Friday edition of the Patrick Johnson Show, as it is championship weekend for all the college conferences, including the American tomorrow. They'll have coverage at 3 on ESPN Plus. Ahead of Tulane and SMU, and that game will air on ABC tomorrow from New Orleans. So we'll see who will be representing the American in a possible New Year's Six bowl situation. All right, we go to the telephone lines now, where our great friend Chris Hughes, Carolina Preps, joins us here. He just had a birthday, so happy birthday, Chris. And great to talk to you again. Hope you're well, buddy.
I'm doing great. Appreciate it. Thanks for the well wishes, and always great to be on here talking some high school football with you, my man.
Yeah, got a lot to talk about. I guess we'll kind of work from the 1As on up because some of these teams that are in the neighborhood are, included in this. And that's the 1A East. Tarboro, here we go. Knock me over with a feather. Tarboro is back in the regional final. They will play the number 2 seed in the 1A East tonight at 7, West Columbus. So the Vikings and West Columbus, the winner there gets the winner of Mount Airy and Robbinsville. Obviously a great Jeff Craddock, a great season as always for Tarboro, and I would think being at home, the Vikings are the prohibitive favorite tonight, but break it down for us, Chris.
Well, I think it's a slim favorite. I do believe that there's a favorite. Jeff Craddock, his resume speaks for itself. You look at all the amounts of championships and regional finals appearances that he's got under the cap in that entire Tarboro program. When you talk about excellence in North Carolina, you certainly have to put that program up there. But I think that this is a game that could be a little bit of a trouble spot for Tarboro. West Columbus they've been solid all year long. Very few chinks in that armor. They've got a defensive lineman that can just totally eat up offensive linemen and create havoc there in the box for the Tarboro running game. So I think that this is going to be a tough game. And, you got to look back to last week. I had a feeling, and I predicted it on my Talking Prep show, that I thought East Bladen had enough to give Tarboro a run. And, you look back in that 20-13 game, and I think it could be a similar outcome tonight. Although with that being said, Jeff Craddock, that entire staff over there, that's some of the best coaches. I think that they've got one of the best staffs collectively in the state. I think that they will find a way to get victorious, but it's not going to be without a fight.
Who do you see them playing out of the West, or the winner of that playing out of the West?
Well, I've had the opportunity to see both of the teams in the West. I've seen both Robbinsville, and I was at the Mount Airy game last week. Both of them are really good. Robbinsville may be one of the biggest teams up front in the state. They've got one of the best running backs in the state in Cutler Adams. But I just think this Mount Airy team is a little bit too thorough from top to bottom. I don't see very many chinks in the armor. They got a running back that can go the distance on any play. They've got a couple of those skill players here and there. They're just really good, hard-nosed football players. Mount Airy, I think, is coming in on maybe a 26-game winning streak. I think they're going to find a way to get it done, but going up to Robbinsville, that's a very tough stadium, Big Oak Stadium up there on the Tennessee border.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great game tonight, but it's going to be, I think Mount Airy finds a way to get it done.
CarolinaPreps.com founder is Chris Hughes. He's with us here. In the 2A East, this is exciting. Northeastern and Clinton, both teams are number 1. Clinton, a historical power, returned to form for the Dark Horses, and Northeastern has had one of the better teams in recent years. So that's the 2A East tonight. Who do you like?
Well, I know that both of those teams are phenomenal. I have seen Northeastern in the playoffs. I watched them a few weeks ago against Princeton. They can throw the ball for miles. I think they have a hard time stopping the run. And, Clinton can put together a really good running attack. I think that could spell some trouble for Northeastern. But I also thought Northeastern would struggle a little bit last week with Whiteville. I'm not surprised they won, but, Northeastern, they're extremely fast, really athletic, really tall, great-looking team. But I think that if Clinton can get up there and rough them up in the box and make things tough on them, I think that they could create havoc. I do think that Clinton finds a way to win the game. And
then Reidsville's on the other side of the bracket hosting Shelby. Shelby's been in the title game here in recent years, but I guess you got to go with Reidsville. That's another one of those.
Well, between the two, they've both got about 100 state championships between them. Maybe that's joking a little bit. I think it's more along the lines of about 50, but still, that's a lot of state championships for programs.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a great game. I don't think this is your typical Reidsville team. I don't think that they're quite as loaded as they've been in recent years. A new coach, Eric Teague, son of Hall of Fame coach Jimmy Teague. So, the program is really a strong program, and they're a really good team. Shelby's a team, they lost some games in the early part of the season, but let's look at who they lost to. AC Reynolds, close. Crest, Kings Mountain. You're talking about some of the best teams. So I think that this Shelby team, they're really surging of late. I think that they're on a roll. I think they might be able to get it done.
All right, and one other of the True East teams that's playing tonight in the 3A East is Northern Nash. They're a 13 seed, but they're 13-1. They will be at number 2, 71st. Northern Nash with an impressive win and really dominated the second half in eliminating Havelock last week. Winner of that in the 3A gets the 3A West winner, which will be Dudley or Hickory. So what do you make of this Northern Nash at 71st matchup?
Yeah, let's look back to the semifinals last year. That was a 1-point game. That was probably one of the most exciting games in all of the 2022 season. I think that it's going to be, deja vu again. I think it's going to go down to the wire, as did the game last year. I tend to say that 71st might have the advantage just because, it's got the revenge factor. Such a good team, so physical, so well coached with Duron McLaurin. But, I've got to tip my cap to Coach Ferris and that Northern Nash team. You want to talk about a resilient team. They've had their back against the wall several times this year and really grabbed victory out of the clinches of defeat because they've just found a way to win tough games and big games on the road, as we mentioned, like the Havelock game.
So you like 71st against 2 next week?
I think Dudley. I think Dudley's the absolute best team in the entire state. And I'm starting to think Dudley might even be the best team all classifications. That team is just enormous. They're fast. They're so well coached. That Dudley team, they are running on all cylinders.
All right, 4A, you got Gibbons and Hoggard in the East, and the West, Independence, Blast from the Past, and number 1 seed Weddington. Who do you have in the 4A next week from both sides?
I think that Weddington's going to find a way to get it done, but it's going to be a battle tonight. That Independence team is on a roll. The last time they won a state championship, look who the quarterback was, DJ. He was the coach back then, and that team just seems to be on a roll. That Cardinal Gibbons team, they have the defense, I think, to get it done. Defense wins championships. I think they can find a way to win on the road tonight. They lost a couple early in the season, but that defense is not the same defense that was playing in August and September. They had a lot of injuries early in the year. I think Coach Stephen Wright's got them rolling.
All right, Chris Hughes, founder of Carolina Prep's, on with us here. The High School Athletic Association vote to expand from 4 classifications to 8. Now, this is up from the 7 that I think was agreed upon, if not earlier this year, the year before this year. So they're going 8 classifications. What do we need to read into this from our friends at the NCHSAA, Chris?
Well, I was not able to attend the meetings this week. I had some other conflicts. But, really what I take is that it's almost the same as what we had. You had the 4 classifications that were subdivided. I think this is really going back to that, with the exception that it will be for all sports instead of just football subdivisions. I am of the mindset that 4 was way too few. I thought 4 that we have right now makes it very unfair for a lot of the different schools, whether in the biggest of the big class and definitely in the 1A. So I think the 8 will definitely give a lot more parity and a lot more opportunity for schools to compete, I think, on a more fair basis. I still think that 8 might be a little bit too many. I was really happy with the 6 model or maybe 7. But you know what? I think that it's a positive step forward and much better than what we have.
Hey, Chris, it's always great to talk to you. We appreciate it. And, again, a belated happy birthday to you. Maybe we'll see you next week at the championships, and we'll catch up very, very soon. Thank you, as always.
Thank you. Can't wait to see you again.
All right, there he goes. Chris Hughes with us here. All right, Patrick Johnson Show. I'm headed over to Minji's for the volleyball, and Philip the Ref Pilkington is going to bring you the stunning conclusion of the show with a Pirate Report coming up for the radio audience on the other side. Back at it Monday on Talk of the Town at 7, and back at it on the Patrick Johnson Show Monday at 5 o'clock. We're also going to see you on ESPN Plus tomorrow for the final of the Greenville pod in the volleyball invitational tournament. All right, have a great and safe weekend, everybody. Pilk will get you home the rest of the way when we come back on the Patrick Johnson Show.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
I'm a big mood. You can't name a lot of things that I didn't do. Stacking paper like a book, not a Kindle. You outdated, I'm the one they getting into, and I don't break a sweat. Let's get it. 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 Child, please, I don't need a child, please.
Are you game day ready? Anson Belt, the official belt of ECU Athletics.
Are you ready for a digital hair color revolution? The Color Master Factory by Chi and LG. A masterpiece of innovation, unlimited color formulations, limitless possibilities. Long-lasting color. Chi.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you.